Phenomenal day, family. You already know. Read, remember, repeat. The show that's all about the books, getting the knowledge in your brain. You know what I mean? Shit, man. I don't know if y'all get it yet, but anything you put in inside, you know what I mean, comes out. So it's like if a kid was raised around craziness, parents not being at home and stuff, that stuff comes out, it lashes out. So the more things that you put in intentionally comes out. Now, let's hop right into it. Hope everybody's having a beautiful day. A lack of clarity about what people really want is what's holding so many folks back. They don't even know how to ask for what they want when they have an opportunity. It is not enough to say you want someone to put you on, or even worse, to tell someone that your goal is to be famous. In order to get the most out of your hustle, you have to be able to clearly define what you're working for. For examples of how not to do it, take a look at my IG. You won't have to scroll far to find dozens of people pleading, "Yo, Fifth, sign me to a record deal," or "Man, you need to let me jump on power. You need to let me jump on power." I can act, sorry, but those sorts of ridiculous asks do not constitute hustling. It's even worse in person. People will stop me on the street or even approach me on TV and video shoots. They think they're putting in work or taking advantage of an opportunity by stepping up to me and asking me to put a brother on. But the second I hear these sorts of vague asks, I know I'm dealing with someone who isn't worth any investment. If you can't even articulate to me what you're trying to do, why would I try to help you? It might sound out of character for me, but I believe vision boards are a very powerful tool in calcifying what you're working toward. When you force yourself to articulate your vision in words, you set a powerful energy in motion. You give something that was just a thought, or maybe even just a feeling, a real presence in the world. You make it a real thing. It's easy to get started on your computer. Go to Google Images and type in everything you think you like to have in your life. Beachfront property, Range Rover, pit bull puppy. But what if your dream isn't a physical thing? If you want a promotion at your job, Google an image of a corner office. If you want to design your own streetwear, Google a picture of Ronnie Feg or Virgil Abloh. If you want to go to college, Google Harvard's graduation ceremony. You should always aim high on your boards. If you want to fall in love, Google an image of your favorite celebrity couple, or even put up a picture of your grandparents if they've been together for 50 years. I think vision boards are even a great way for couples to get on the same page. Put together your own board and have your significant other do the same. Then compare notes. The things that show up in yours but not your partner's are the things they're going to have to learn to accept about you, vice versa. Making boards with each other is a great way to get a lot of unspoken things out in the open. I once told a journalist from GQ to make one with his girlfriend. He did, and wrote that when he looked at hers, it had more babies than an orphanage. They hadn't talked about having kids yet, but that vision board put what she wanted front and center. I've seen vision boards make a real difference in people's lives, and the stats back me up. A study by Dominican University found that you're 42 times more likely to achieve your goals if you write them down. And a study in Psychology Bulletin found that people are 90% more likely to achieve their goals that are challenging and specific. That's not to say that the universe is going to just drop a bag into your lap because you said you wanted one. You still have to put in the work, a lot of it. But by identifying your vision and giving it a name, you're taking a big step toward realizing your goal. If you're feeling even a little bit of uncertainty about what you want, take the time to make a vision board. The power of vision boards is real and very accessible. Never break your stride. As you probably realize, hustling can also mean selling drugs. My mother was a hustler in that sense. I was too, as were a lot of my friends and enemies back in Queens. I'm not going to give you a crash course on drug dealing here. I've talked about that stuff in my first book, my movie, and a lot of my songs. Chances are You've already heard those stories. What I wanted to address here is the attitude you have to develop to be a successful drug dealer. The mentality that no matter what happens to you on the street, you're not going to break stride. Let's say you bought some coke you thought was pure, but was actually cut with laxative. Instead of bitching and moaning, you have to adjust the situation and say, it's cool, I'll get my money back on the next pack. That has to be your constant attitude on the street. I'll get it back on the next one. In what I'll call the civilian world, a lot of times when people encounter setbacks, they dwell on them. Instead of moving on to the next one, they get stuck. If a deal they were working on falls through or they don't get a promotion they thought they deserved, they let it slow their momentum. They start to feel sorry for themselves. They blame other people. They say the system was rigged against them, that their boss had it in for them, or that their teachers were biased against them. The list of excuses and rationalizations goes on and on. If they hit one little bump on the road of life, they pull their car over, do a U-turn, and head home. The streets don't allow you the luxury of excuses. If something goes bad and your reaction is to point the finger at someone else, hey, that's cool, until that person hears what you've been saying and decides to blow your head off. You want to complain that the system is rigged against you, you can yell about that at the top of your lungs, but no one on the streets is going to give you a break because of it. No shit. Of course it is. Who didn't know that? Rather than complain about it, get to work outsmarting all these cops, POs, judges, and politicians who would like to keep you locked up. There's no time for a defeatist, woe is me mentality on the streets. Your daily mindset has to be, I'll get it back on the next one, or you'll wind up one of three ways: broke, dead, or locked up. We spend a lot of time talking about privilege in this country, about how certain people are handed things and put in position to win. There's a lot of truth to that, but we're not looking at the other side of the privilege coin. These boys and girls who get sent to the best schools and best colleges and then are walked into the best companies certainly have a lot of opportunity, but what they lack is resiliency. They've never truly been tested. Okay, they've been tested in a literal sense. They better get a good score on their SATs or else they won't get into their top college choice. But how does that really compare to overhearing your single mother say, damn, how are we going to keep the lights on this month? Or hearing your father say, they said if we don't pay the last 2 months rent, they're going to evict us. That's a different level of struggle. And to be fair, there are levels in other countries that we can't imagine. They're going to turn the lights out. Isn't shit compared to if ISIS makes it over that mountain, they're killing this whole village. If you spent your childhood worrying about past due bills, family members in jail, or gunshots on your corner, but are still out here trying to make it happen, you possess real resiliency. Acknowledge that about yourself and then use that to your advantage. Contrast that with your co-worker who's been at an advantage their whole life, whether they realize it or not. Maybe they got the job because their prep school classmates' father runs the place. That guy is comfortable with success. Hell, he expects it. What he's much less comfortable with is adversity, even just a little bit of it. If his picks start coming up dry, he won't know what to do. He might start drinking heavily or start to blow his money on coke because he's so confused. Losing was not in his playbook. I've seen Wall Street guys and high-powered lawyers take an unexpected loss and literally be ready to jump out of their office window. One loss and they're ready to end it all. Coming from where I've been, I would never let a defeat or setback have that sort of effect on me. And if you come from a similar background, you shouldn't either. If I somehow lost it all tomorrow, I promise I would not be fazed. I'm sitting at my desk in my office as I write this, looking out my window. I can see a guy on the sidewalk selling peanuts. If I lost everything tomorrow, I'm not jumping out this window. Nope. The next day, I'd be out there on the opposite corner setting up my own peanut stand. Let's call it 50s nuts. Maybe to make my cart stand out, I introduce chocolate-covered nuts and some cherry-coated ones too, because I'm offering more selection than my competition. I create a little buzz on my block, then I figure out a way to use that buzz to get 50s nuts over to Yankee Stadium and sell them in the stands. And after that, open up a restaurant in the concourse and then another one back in Manhattan. And before you know it, I've got a chain. And with that, I'm back in the game, baby. Having a hustler's mentality. I would never allow myself to think, shit, I just lost everything. My enemies are going to clown me. My critics are going to have a field day. I don't think I can do this anymore. No, if it all goes away, I'm confident. I'm getting my money back and then some. This mentality is why people like me, Jay-Z, Puffy, Nas, and so many others have all done so well in corporate America. We keep finding success because we don't get thrown by life's inevitable setbacks. We've already experienced the type of lifestyle that a so-called loss might bring. We know it's not going to break us forever, so we keep our momentum going. Look at Puffy. The popular perception is that he's been on top for the last 25 years, but he's actually experienced plenty of setbacks during his career. In 1991, 9 people were trampled to death at a concert he threw at City College in New York. That was supposed to end his career. It didn't. Then he got fired from Uptown Records, where he launched the careers of artists like Mary J. Blige and Jodeci for being a hothead. That would have been the final chapter for a lot of people. Not Puffy. He started Bad Boy Records and took that label to the top. Then Biggie, the artist he built an entire movement around, was murdered. A blow like that would have slowed a lot of folks all the way down. Puffy didn't stop for a second. A few years later, he got Jennifer Lopez, one of the biggest pop stars in the world, caught up in an attempted murder case. The same case that got his top artist at the time, Sean, sent to jail for 10 years. That would have been the final straw for most people. Not Puffy. He swallowed all those L's, probably washed them down with a shot of pink grapefruit Ciroc, and kept it moving. Bad Boy doesn't have hits anymore. People don't wear Sean John, and Ciroc is losing its market share. But Puffy is still looking ahead. Man, I keep telling y'all, man, these books, man, I don't know what they do, man, but they put that battery in your back, man. So, shit, man, you want to be energized, you want to walk around here feeling good, smiling, read your books, man. Read, remember, repeat. Let's go. Y'all have a good day.